Hello, good afternoon. I'm Veronica Fitzmorris from Quebec City. I'm originally from Saint-Malachie-Bellechasse, although when I lived there it was called Saint-Malachy, County of Dorchester, but now it's called Saint-Malachie-Bellechasse. And now I live in Quebec City. I used to be a teacher and I've retired, and now I have more time to go around to these different events. Today I came to the Black Rock event. It's the first time I came. I heard about the fact that they'd be talking about the orphans of Grosse Isle. Many of those orphans are here around the Black Rock. It's a memorial kind of for those who died, 1847. And I have a connection with 1847, but it's Grosse Isle. My great-grandmother, Catherine Leonard, left County Louth with her family, her mom and dad, an elder sister Anne, and some younger siblings. And by the time she arrived in August, I think, 1847, they were all orphaned and sick. Some of them were sick. In fact, Judith, I think, was about 5 years old and she died on Grosse Isle. And I presume, yes, she must be buried in the unmarked graves that we see on Grosse Isle, the little white crosses, and there are no names, of course. And the youngest one, a little boy, apparently disappeared on Grosse Isle. Well, I know all this because of our great and lovable Mariana O'Gallagher, who was a historian and who did research and found out about my ancestors from the Grey Nuns who kept records of the orphans. And Mariana is the one who made me aware of my ancestors. They're all listed in her book, Grosse Isle, I think, Gateway to Canada. And the eldest was Anne, 14 years old, and Catherine was 12 years old. The others, I'm not too sure. Judith was 5 and she died on Grosse Isle, and I think Michael was the youngest, but I'm not sure of his name. And Mariana said a lot of the kids, they were kind of left to themselves because they just didn't have the personnel to care for them. They were just too busy taking care of the sick, and a lot of the younger kids, unfortunately, would roam around and walk around and they'd fall off the cliff. And she presumes that's what happened to him because he disappeared and was never found, the poor little guy. He was 4. I just feel for the other siblings. What a they left Ireland together, all the family, and they left Ireland, I guess, for reasons that they knew and not necessarily reasons that were very great. If they left their hometown, left their culture, and crossed over and experienced their parents' death and seeing their parents being thrown overboard. It just gives me the shivers. And then they arrive in Grosse Isle and the little boy disappears, the little girl of 5 dies, and they're orphaned, and there's 3 of them left. And they were adopted in Saint-Malachie, which is my native, that's where I was born. It was called East Frampton before it was the village of Saint-Malachie. And they were adopted in different families. The boy, we don't know what happened. Apparently he was adopted. I know the name of the family, it's in Mariana's book. But apparently he ran away, and his sisters heard from him again, but after a while they didn't. And my great-grandmother married an Irish guy, John, I think was John Kelly, and they both lived up into their 80s, and they're buried in Saint-Malachie Cemetery, same cemetery that my grandparents are, and my parents are on both sides, like the Kellys and the Fitzmorrises. And I found Anne's name in a book that I got from Frampton, and I saw Leonard Anne, so has to be her. She was from Frampton, and she died, she was 21. So I found out about Anne, Catherine, a bit about her, and the others who died, and their brother, we don't know. And maybe I should do some research. Maybe he has kids somewhere or descendants, you know, but that I'm not aware of so far. But I'm always amazed because I've been to Grosse Isle many times. My first trip to Grosse Isle was with Mariana O'Gallagher, before it was even open to the public. She took my mom and my uncle Patrick Kelly and a few other Kellys, because Catherine Leonard was their grandmother. And so they were very impressed, and so was I, because when we went there, it wasn't fancy like it is now and all built up. There was nothing. Like, all the buildings were in ruins, and the little cemetery with the white crosses, it was very touching for my mom and my Uncle Pat, and even myself, you know, and it was so desolate. But actually, it's my best memory of Grosse Isle, because now it's become, well, it's okay, but it's become very touristic and whatever, and all the buildings are renovated, and so back then it looked really, you know, you could say to yourself, wow, you know, what a place, you know, to be, and away from home and no parents, oh my goodness. And when I think of Catherine Leonard, I often think of a little 12-year-old girl leaving Ireland under difficult conditions, going through all this on the way. And she got married to an Irish guy. She was adopted in a family, got married to an Irish guy, had children, and both of them lived into their 80s. When she passed away, she lived with her son Owen in Tillyallen. And I think my mom was still there. The kids were young and they were still there. But I find it's amazing when I think about all the ancestors that she has here. When I think of her children and then the grandchildren, I'm amazed. I mean, I have a daughter. I don't have any grandchildren yet, but most of my siblings have grandchildren. So think about all the people that are here because of one little 12-year-old girl. It just amazes me, you know, when I think about it. It's unreal, you know. And another thing, I went to Grosse Isle one time with Mariana too, and it was somebody came from Ireland, and I think the president of Ireland came. Anyway, and it was a very weird day. It was stormy and windy and all that. And that was another day where you can really feel the elements and what it must have been like on Grosse Isle on a, you know, a very dreary day. And we were near the cemetery, and the president of Ireland was speaking, and I forget what the occasion was now, but Marianne had asked me to go with my daughter, and my daughter was presenting flowers to Sheila Copps at the time. She was the minister of, I think of Heritage, right. And so that was an experience too. And I was just looking at the cemetery and the little white crosses, and maybe I'm a bit special, I don't know. But I just happened to look up at the trees, and it was blowing that day. And it just, like, all the leaves are shaking. And I just had got this impression that, you know, my ancestors are buried there. And they contributed to the growth of this tree. All the Irish were buried in those grounds. I mean, you know, c'est eux qui ont comme contribué à la croissance de ces arbres-là. Puis je sentais que les feuilles, c'était des petites feuilles qui bougeaient là, tout le temps parce qu'il ventait beaucoup. Puis je me disais, mon Dieu, ça me faisait penser que mes ancêtres m'envoyaient la main, là, tu sais. Je me suis mis à penser à ça, que, ouais, ces arbres-là, dans le fond, sont fertilisés, ou whatever, je ne sais pas quel mot utiliser, par tous les Irlandais, là, qui sont enterrés là. Ça m'a fait réfléchir à plein de choses. Aller à Grosse Isle, c'est toujours spécial pour moi. Je suis allée plusieurs fois. Je suis allée avec Marianne O'Gallagher, je suis allée avec Irish Heritage Québec, je suis allée avec mes sœurs, je suis allée avec ma fille. Donc, je suis allée souvent. Puis, c'est toujours une place qui m'attire parce que Catherine Leonard est arrivée là. Puis c'est elle, mon arrière-grand-mère, je ne l'ai jamais connue, mais je l'ai connue un peu par mes mamans. Mais c'est pas des choses qui parlaient souvent parce que c'est triste. Puis moi, j'étais trop jeune pour poser des questions. T'sais, maintenant, je me dis, j'aimerais donc savoir ça. Mais quand tu as 6 ans, là, tu ne poses pas des questions sur ton arrière-grand-mère, là, puis tu ne sais pas qu'elle est arrivée comme dans ces années-là, tu ne sais pas encore. Tu ne sais pas c'était quoi les conditions non plus sur le bateau. Mais maman n'a pas beaucoup parlé de ça. Pourtant, elle était sûrement au courant de certaines choses, parce que c'était quand même sa grand-maman. Puis elle avait resté avec eux autres quand son mari est décédé. Puis donc, elle a dû... Peut-être qu'elle n'aura pas parlé non plus, parce que c'était trop triste pour elle. C'est toute une épreuve qu'elle a vécue, là. Mais non, moi, aujourd'hui, j'aurais plein de questions à poser, là. Comment c'était en Irlande, pourquoi vous êtes partis, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé, puis plein d'affaires, là. Puis, je pense que j'ai un cousin à Saint-Malachie qui sait un peu où ils ont habité. Et puis, bien, moi, ça m'impressionne aussi qu'ils ont vécu tous les deux jusqu'à 80 quelque chose, là. Pour cette époque-là, c'était quand même pas mal bien. Et puis, je sais exactement où est sa petite pierre là, tombale. Elle est couchée sur le gazon. Des fois, il faut enlever le gazon, puis ça pousse par-dessus, pour voir son nom. Puis, c'est à Saint-Malachie. Et puis, mon grand-père est là, puis... Mes parents sont là. C'est le même cimetière, le petit cimetière de Saint-Malachie, là. Alors, c'est quoi? C'est à peine 1 heure de Québec, de la ville de Québec. Donc, c'est certain que chaque fois qu'on va dans le village de Saint-Malachie, on va toujours parler aux ancêtres. on salue les Fitzmorris, on salue les Kelly. Puis, c'est toujours intéressant de voir tous les noms sur les pierres tombales. Puis là, chaque fois qu'on y va, on dirait qu'on découvre quelque chose de nouveau parce qu'il y a beaucoup d'informations quand même. Et ouais, j'aime beaucoup aller à Saint-Malachie. Les premières 15 années de ma vie, je les ai vécues là, sur une ferme, là, avec mes frères et sœurs. Je suis allée à l'école là en anglais. J'ai beaucoup de souvenirs, des bons souvenirs de cette paroisse, de cette enfance, jeunesse à Saint-Malachie. Puis, ouais, c'est très agréable.